so hopefully the video will take, and there won't be an issue with the volume. Let's see, make sure. Okay, we're good. All right, so we're going to begin the review real quick, starting with question number 1. And question number 1, we start with converting the angle from degree to radian. So just remember, this is negative 54 degrees because it's negative 54 degrees, and you multiply by pi over 180 degrees. All right, and you can use your calculator. You'll get negative 54 degrees over 180 degrees. This will be with pi, and this reduces to negative 3 pi over 10. And obviously I'm dividing both sides by 18. That's how we're obtaining, so I have to divide by 18 here, and I'll do the same thing here, and that's how we end up with that number. Okay, number 2. Let's switch back to the red. Question number 2, convert the angle from radian to degrees, so you have negative pi over 5. We're going to simply multiply that by 180 over pi, and yes, this is in degrees, or the 180 is in degrees. The pi's will cancel, this will still be negative, and you're going to divide 5 into 180, which is 36 degrees. It's still negative, remember. That's question 2. Question 3. In question 3, you have basically use the Pythagorean theorem to find the length of the missing side. And so here's what they're giving you. They're giving you a triangle. We have theta at the top, 90 degrees here, and this is triangle ABC. We know this side is 10, and we know that this side over here is 3. They want cosecant of theta. So if you think of cosecant of theta, it's basically the inverse of sine theta, right? So 1 over sine theta. So you can think of it as it's either going to be, remember sine is opposite over hypotenuse, so this is obviously hypotenuse over opposite. So we need to find said hypotenuse. We need to find this. Okay, so if I do this, I find that the hypotenuse will be the square root of 3 squared plus 10 squared, right? Because you go back to your basics, and we know that c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared. And so c is equal to the square root of a squared plus b squared. So in essence, our c is the square root of 109. Okay, so now that we know that this is the square root of 109, we're going to apply our ratio. And so our ratio would be hypotenuse over opposite. So if I'm looking at theta, this is the hypotenuse. Its opposite is over here. This is the opposite for theta. So your answer would be square root 109 over 3. Alright, if you're going to do tan of this angle for number 4, they want you to find tan theta. And you have a triangle. This triangle is going to be labeled A, B, C. Your 90 is sitting here. So it's a crappy drawing. Alright, put back here. Here's your ABC. This side we know is 8, this side we know is 7. We need to find that hypotenuse again, so remember this is a hypotenuse, it's always opposite the 90-degree angle. So this is the square root of 64 plus 49. Just remember that's 8 squared, and this is 7 squared, added together, basically. If I'm doing this, then I end up with the square root of 113 added together, basically adding these two numbers together. Alright, and then I'm looking for tan of theta. If my theta is sitting here, this is no different. It's opposite side over adjacent. So in this case, for number 4, the answer should be C. It's simply 8 over 7. Alright, answer choice C. Alright, so let's look at question number 5. In question number 5, it says find the cofunction. So the cofunction, if you remember, begins with sine theta is equal to cosine of 90 minus theta, 90 degrees minus theta, or it could be pi over 2. Remember, sometimes we write it as pi over 2. So in this case, we have sine of pi over 18 is the same as cosine of pi over 2 minus pi over 18. And so if I convert this to match the denominator, I'm going to end up with, let's try this here. So this becomes 18 by multiplying by 9 top and bottom. So you get 9 pi over 18 minus pi over 18, and that's your cosine. So you're left with cosine of 8 pi over 18, which if I divide in half would end up giving me, in this case, cosine 4 pi over 9, and that's your final answer. Alright, that's number 5. Let's look at number 6. Do the same thing for tan, but tan theta as a cofunction is equal to cotan of, 90 minus theta, or 90 degrees. Since they're asking you in pi over 17, this would be in radians, so tan theta, or tan pi over 17 is equal to cotan of pi over 2 minus pi over 17, and so we need to convert this to a common denominator. 17 is a prime number, so you'll end up multiplying these to get a denominator of 34. So in essence, you're multiplying this side by 2 over here, and you're multiplying this side by 17 top and bottom. So you end up with, I'm sorry, I wrote cosine, I meant cotan. So you get cotan of 17 pi over 34 minus 2 pi over 34, resulting in 15 pi over 34. Your answer choice for number 6 should be A. Alright, looking at number 7. You have cosecant pi over 10. If you remember, cosecant goes with secant, so in this case this will become secant pi over 2 minus pi over 10. Alright, and again I need a common denominator, so I will multiply this by 5 here and here. So you end up with secant 5 pi minus pi again over 10, which results in secant of 4 pi over 10, which is the same as secant 2 pi over 5. So number 7 should have been answer choice B. Okay, number 8. On number 8, it says a point on the terminal side of the angle theta is given, and obviously they're giving you x and y values. Alright, and so we're missing r in this case. It says find the exact value of the function for theta. So we want to find, in this case, sine theta, and we're given 18 and 24. So if you recall the ratios, it's sine theta, the ratio is y over r. We don't know r yet. Just remember that by formula, r is equal to the square root of x squared plus y squared. So to find r would be our mission. Just remember, just the rest of them just for practice, cosine theta x over r and tan theta is simply going to be y over x. So if you just recall that they're inverses, so for cosecant it would be r over y, secant r over x, and for tan, cotan x over y, right? So in this case, I know x, I know y, I need to find r first, because I need r. And r is equal to the square root of 18 squared plus 24 squared. Okay. A little bit of math here, goes a long way. When it's all said and done, it should be about 4/5, and I'll tell you why I say that. Think of this in terms of 3, 4, 5. 18 is a multiple of 3, 24. Obviously, so think of it this way, 3 times 9 works for 18, so does 6 times 6. 1 times 18, oh my god, 2 times 9, excuse me. 2 times 9 for 18, I don't know what's wrong. Give me 1 second, have it a moment. Basically 3 times 6 for this. 4 times 6 for this. I'm missing the 5th side. The 5th side is going to be 5 times 6, so this next side should be 30. I bet you when I do this, I'm going to end up with the ratio 3, 4, 5, because that'll be the square root of 300, square root of 900, watch, let's see. So I gotta prove it to myself here. So 18 times 18, this is 324. And if I add to that 24 times 24, I get 576. If I add 324 to 576, I get 900. Square root of 900, bingo. Alright, so you can see that this is a 3, 4, 5 ratio. And so we know that we can simplify the fraction anyway. So if that's the case, that means that my y term is the 4 value. My r term, because remember this is x, this is y, this is r. So this has to be answer choice B, 4/5. Okay, same thing for cosecant here. Let's look at number 9, and I'll stop the video here. So we have cosecant theta, we have x and y terms given to us. The terms are 21 and 28. So I know right away that 3 times 7 is 21, and I know that 4 times 7 is 28. So hint, hint, 5 times 7 gives me my r value, 35. So I'm looking already at a reduced fraction that looks like this. It's basically 3, 4, 5. They just tried to trick you with the values. So if you're thinking again of the ratios, remember sine is y over r. So cosecant is going to be r over y. So very simple, x, y, and r. So if that's the case, then I have 5 over 4. So for number 9, your answer choice should have been A. Okay, I'm going to stop this video here because that stops there's a new concept following, and I will continue with the remaining.